Hello and welcome to another caught you drinking to
Perfect timing.
FACEHAMMER show and big day today.
Surprise! Here's a book.
His free books. We've got the new General's Handbook, and I've misplaced. Oh no, they're here. Plus these two to review.
What's this one? Yeah,
we're doing this one, the handbook, in this show.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if everything's gone well, all three would have premiered at the same time, and you can pick and choose. And then once you finish with the one you want to watch the next one. Like, subscribe, do the algorithm, whatever. But first things first. Thanks, Games Workshop, for sending us samples, giving us plenty of time to record.
Please send it earlier next time.
Yes, please. My diamond shoes are tight. No, so we haven't had much time. Literally, it's Wednesday, so we've just got them today. So I've rearranged some stuff. So some of you would have been aware about the World's recording show with Jack and Tom. I've scrubbed that. That's moving because we need to do these.
Luckily, everyone's a busy boy, so it's worked out all right.
Yeah, fine. It's worked out fine. That's how we'll go with that. So speaking of everything is fine, General's Handbook. So we're going to talk about this. We'll give your opinion. So people who don't know, the General's Handbook is like the match play book for the season 1, but with a date range of 22-23. I don't know what that means. Obviously, this is backwards on your screen.
Yeah, seasons spans a season.
Is it?
Is there going to be another one? I don't know, but we're in a season, and it's the first
season. Season 1 of, even though technically it's the second one. Season 1 of General's Handbook, whatever that means. But we're here. There's a troll on the front. Hopefully their points have gone down. Sorry, I'll stop. It's been a fun day.
Guys, don't worry. Everything you deserve and have been waiting patiently for is coming on a date, but it's not today. Sorry.
Yeah. So we'll get into the show. So what we're going to do in this show, we talk about match play rules. Obviously, General's Handbook, loads of match play rules. It fundamentally is the foundation of match play. It is drastically different. It will completely change everything. So we've got a little Yoda here, which is you must unlearn what you have learned. Because basically, if you've been playing competitively for a long time in AOS 3, the meta is getting flipped.
But yeah, it's getting shaken up.
There's a new
comprehensively.
One. Just everything you know, just chuck out the window.
So if they're feeling stale, then they're gonna feel different now by a lot.
Yeah,
by a long way.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a table flip, which because the table flip a GIF which I made just literally 10 seconds ago, and I think that this is probably going to sum up how people feel today when they've looked at this. I would say be calm. Don't go out and start
witch elves
doing videos of your monsters in bins, setting fire to them with lighter fluid and stuff like that. Models. Don't do that because it's everything in AOS is on quite a quick cycle, so everything comes back around again. So I won't worry too much. Anyway, let's get into it. So we're going to go through the book and talk about most of the match play stuff. So we're going to start off with the important bit, which is kind of like the front end stuff, which is the battle tactics, grand strategies, and the season of war rules. And then once we've done that, we will get into scenarios. Then there has been quite a big update to endless spells. And then finally, we will talk about points adjustments. Now, before you skip to the video to see the points, don't bother. Literally hardly anything has changed, and it's pretty underwhelming.
Until we talk about endless spells.
Except for endless spells. We will cover that. I have literally just gone through by hand and marked all the changes that I could see. I might have missed a few. And I've taken photos. So
point out any corrections to what we say or additions to things that we've missed.
Yeah,
we don't have time to do this one perfectly, but we're getting it out.
We are getting it out quick and dirty. And what we will say as well that the according to the Warhammer community website, all of the points will be free and up to date on the app on launch. So we're not spoiling anything by telling you what they are.
Because they'll already
they'll be out and they'll be free. So there you go. Watch this space. So people who are wondering about the book and about everything it entails, it does come with your pop out battle tactics, your objective markers, the points book, and the binder like handbook.
Yeah, which is a great format. Like, it's super practical. I'm all up for having a smaller, convenient book with tabs that are labeled for this type of thing. You know, it's a little bit, it's very, very functional, which maybe isn't as thematic and beautiful, so shouldn't be in army books or anything. But for this, I think this format's perfect. Yeah,
so great book. We covered that when you talked about the last one. So getting into the nitty gritty. So season 1, whatever that means, we've got the start of the pitched battle profile, which is for the match play framework for rules. This bit's kind of standard. It's talking about points limits, the board size, your restrictions, your faction, your roles. Nothing's really changed. Yeah. No. So we'll skip that. Again, fill out your army roster, all that stuff. That's the same, I believe. I haven't read it, if I'm honest. I just assume it's the same. And then we've got battle plans, 2 charts. Now, according to the Warhammer community website, half of them are narrative-y Galatian Gallant War ones, and the other half are more standard ones. I'm assuming, I don't know which ones are which, and looking at the scenarios, I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's what their Warhammer community site is saying. I'm not sure about that. And this is just telling you that you've got battle tactics, what they are, faction terrain, mysterious terrain, alternate deployments, dealing the initiative. So it's all the same stuff we used to. There's nothing really new there. Okay, so we're not going to go through that. You
mentioned Galatian Veterans, I guess it's...
Well, this is the important bit, okay?
Yeah.
So we're into the realm rules. So these rules, if you're playing this battle pack, which most tournaments, GW official events will be playing in Galat, the Splintered Land.
Yeah, the standard has been to play under the latest GHB.
So we have the special rules, so Masters of the Splintered Land. So friendly battle line units that have a wound characteristic of 4 or less and do not have mounts gain Galatian Veteran keyword.
Not optional. They just get that.
They just get it.
This, then this.
As we go through this, you're going to find that Galatian Veterans are going to be key for tactics missions, giving away and also achieving. So I think there's going to be a bit of an interesting discussion about what units are worth taking, because some will become veterans and you might not want them to be and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a big change. Like we say, unlearn what you've learned and get ready to table flip your meta, which is basically what this does. Although
resilient things are still really good.
Yeah, of course so. So proving grounds, this is a bit of a strange rule. So this is the start of each battle round. After players have determined who will take the first turn, the player who will take second turn, so each battle round, okay, can pick one objective to be a proving ground. Until the end of that battle round, that objective cannot be picked as a battleground more than once per battle as well. So only one objective can be marked at any one time. Only models in units that have Galatian Veterans can contest an objective marked proving ground. So every battle round, the person who goes second can pick an objective and say only veterans can capture that. And once that objective's been picked, you can't pick it the next round.
Every battle round's quite a lot, rather than just battle round 3.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's a pretty big deal.
Which does sort of have a bit of a play with the turn roll, because you might say, well, I don't want to take the turn, but it's every turn, right? So, interesting.
It's weird in the first round.
Well, no, because you capture when you deploy, right? So, because after deployment, you cap your objectives. But
okay.
So you before the round starts, you've already capped controlling ones you've deployed next to. Okay. So I would say that you would. I don't know. It's one of those things that if you're not running veterans, your opponent's going to have a lot of power over objectives you can't score.
Yeah.
So that means that Galatian veteran units might be a priority target, not as in the battle scroll priority target, but as in stuff to kill. Yeah. So resilient Galatian veterans, good. Not resilient ones. So then we've got the bonds of battle. So this really messes with reach. Okay, so when a model in a Galatian veteran unit makes an attack with a melee weapon, you can target an enemy unit within half an inch of another model from that Galatian veteran unit instead of using the weapon's reach. If you do, the attacking model must be within half an inch of another model from its own unit that is within half an inch of the target.
That's lots of words. What's it mean, Russ?
So any model of yours that is within half an inch of an enemy model, your models can fight that enemy unit as long as they're within half an inch of the model that's within half an inch of their unit. So essentially, it means that your front rank would need to be half an inch away, and any models that within half an inch of that model could then also fight.
That's a buff to things that are on like 40 mil bases with a 1 inch reach.
Yeah, so when you think about like monstrous infantry, like crypt flayers or ogres or 40 mil, 50 mil, blight kings, anything like that with a 1 inch reach.
Stormcast, entire book.
Stormcast, yeah. You suddenly be able to fight in 2 ranks, and because of the coherency rules, particularly units you have to take as free. So you want to take 6. So as soon as you take 6, you've got to be in like a coherency where you're in 2 lines of free. They can now pretty much all fight.
That's kind of,
so it's good,
nice, isn't it?
So it does.
Some things went up in value.
The Necropolis Stalkers would be good in OBR, because they hit really hard.
And it's nice to not lose 50% of your unit's attack.
And they also they can't. Oh, I think no. Okay, no, they can't be veterans. I don't think, because they can't be battle line. Anyway, but yeah, so things that can be battle line with 4 wounds, so like crypt flayers, crypt haunters, whatever they're called, crypt horrors. I get mixed up all the crypts. Crypt horrors, crypt haunter is the character, and crypt flayers are both can be battle line, 4 wounds, blight kings, that kind of stuff. Stormcast, as you mentioned. Anyway, so we've then got a realm spell, Gaze of Gur. There's no rules on that page, so we'll go to the next page. So it's a spell on a 7, range of 12. Pick 1 enemy unit within range visible. When determining the number of models in that enemy unit a contesting objective, your opponent must half that number, rounding down.
Sounds pretty effective.
Yeah. I don't know how that works with Gargants or a single monster, because you
doesn't say to a minimum of 1.
No. And you pick an enemy unit, the number of models are halved, rounding down. So 1 is half rounded down is 0. So I think that could actually make a giant not count as anything.
Right, they got loads of other stuff going with them in this book.
So pretty, I mean, like, it's a kind of ridiculous.
That's asking for a clarification, right? And I feel like for armies that play like that, that needs to be clarified.
But that means that anyone with magic that can't be unbound, like Teclis or Nagash or anything with bonuses to cast, you can suddenly go, you've got half your models.
Well, Scribes gets to do a spell automatically, don't they? I
think it's on a 2+, but I think it's a Wars. I don't know if it's this. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
He's got some rules. It's Cinch. They've got the janky rules, right? So there's also a realm command, which is a command ability at the end of your charge phase. Must be a Galatian veteran unit. There's 10 or more models, and you pick 1 enemy unit within 1 inch of that unit with a wound characteristic of 4 or less. Roll a dice. If the roll is greater than the number of models in that enemy unit, the strike last effect applies to that unit in the following combat phase.
It's got quite a big range on it, because you have to be within range of your unit, and then.
Well, it's basically a command ability. So you give it the veterans. You pick an enemy unit that has got 4 wounds or less. You roll a dice, and you got to roll over the number of the models in the enemy unit.
Yeah.
So unless you're fighting, I don't know, like 3 models with 3 wounds or 4 wounds, you can still only a 50-50. It's a command point. Yeah. You've got to be veterans. I don't know. I don't think it's that useful. It is in the charge phase, so at least it doesn't use your combat buff. But I'm not sure it'll be that come in. It might come in later on when you've got units and they're coming down to like a few models left, and they're
towards the end of the game.
Yeah, and it might be important. Later, then we've got 2 new battalions. So obviously, this means Hunters of the Halfland isn't a thing, because that's and your burning objectives not a thing, and turning yourself into a monster's not a thing. Yeah. So that's all. Fight at the top of your profile's not a thing. So all those rules are gone, because that's the last battle pack. So we've got Expert Conquerors. So you can only put Galatian Veterans. You need 2 units or 3. Each model counts as 3 models for the purpose of contested objectives.
So what Stormcast have, which thing I get to feel a bit poopy about.
Yeah, if you're Stormkeep and you're in the territory, but you just get it now. I mean, obviously, like you might want to be a 1-drop and you get it anyway, but it's this makes things like Plague Bearers, Blight Kings, like pretty good at objective capture. Ard Boys, Brutes, especially Brutes, because you've got a turn off thing where if you've got 1 wound, you just don't count, right?
So 0, don't you?
Yeah. Then the next formation, which is interesting, and it kind of flips everything on its head again. And that is Headhunters. So if the target of an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in this battalion, if the target of the attack is a Galatian veteran, you add 1 to the damage of that attack.
That is huge. Like we just turned evaluating units on its head with regards to this specifically. So yeah, the maths on evaluating units under this set for bounty hunters is completely changed. Like some stuff just got really good.
I mean, like you've basically got this threefold effect where you've got, okay, so infantry becomes veterans. Veterans can capture some objectives other people can't. They could count as more models, but anything could also be +1 damage against them.
Yeah. So a high quantity of attacks just went up in value because those attacks doubled in damage.
Yeah, and I think if you don't run bounty hunters, you're going to struggle. And I don't know if this is the death of the 1-drop.
I mean, I'm down for that.
I think as an IDNF player, I'm looking at this going, do I put my Reavers as Conquerors and my Bounty Hunters as Sharks and Eels and just be damn of the drop? And then put Magnificent in, or Command Entourage, whatever it is, to get another artifact.
With a bucket of average quality Rend 1 attacks.
You think like 3 Sharks. 3 Sharks, that's 18 attacks from the Riders at damage 2. And, well, it should be 12 attacks from the Sharks at damage 3, Rend 2. So it's really, really hard. Like that's going to hit like a truck, and you can have 2 to 3 units in there. So if anyone goes, oh, I've got all my Witch Elves, because you don't have a choice not to be a veteran. So any army that's got infantry, that's battle line with 4 wounds or less, which is actually going to do some weird stuff with lists where you've got battle line if. So you might say, well, I don't want my crit flayers to be
battle line. The wrong person as the hero. Let's go. Yeah.
So I don't want them to be veterans.
I'm not taking that temple. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't want my combat snakes to be veterans, but I do want them to be bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I think
War Chanter and Gore Gunners just got hilarious.
Yeah.
Damage 3. What is going on there?
It's a very strange environment to be in.
Really extreme.
I mean, like if you actually think about the knock-on effect of War Scrolls points, this is huge. These rules just completely flip the meta on its head.
How do you point appropriately in a 1-er for something that makes that much of a difference? Like you could pick any book. We both know Nurgle well. We know Hydeneth well. Like 4 or 5 units. Both of those books just got very, very damaging, very quick in one go.
Yeah, and like you'd think Puscoil Blight Lords, I put them all in bounty hunters, You know, suddenly they're damage 2. Like, double their output. You've just doubled their output.
Our blade drones are looking way less average than they were.
And they're good against infantry.
Yeah.
Because of the shooting attack.
Their stock just went up.
It is just melee weapons, thankfully.
Yeah. It'd be awful otherwise.
I won't tell you about the first draft. So
that'd be the end of Warhammers.
Yeah, it would be pretty mad. So they're kind of like the main rules, right?
That's enough. Let's just stop there. Enough's changed already.
No,
please.
We're not going to, because we've got some battle tactics and grand strategy to talk about.
Okay, well, if anything was getting extreme and boring and dull with the last edition, it was a bit dreary and you wanted things to be mixed up, hopefully you're now happy, because that's a lot already and there's more to come.
So let's talk about grand strategy. So, as people would know in the old Battletome Handbook
2,
there was basically like keep your battle line alive, keep monsters alive, prize sorcery, all that.
Yeah,
quite easy. Generally, like you never really failed it unless you lost the game.
Or took Slanesh.
Unless you had Glutos, and then you might have a chance. Yeah. These are a little bit harder.
Good. I'm down with that.
So you've got no place for the weak. So when the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy. There are no battle line units from your opponent's army on the field. Tame the land. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy to control all objectives on the battlefield that are wholly outside of your territory.
So in some scenarios, you would automatically get that.
Or fail it. Because if there aren't any, you wouldn't control any, right?
Yeah.
Because they're wholly outside, not...
Yeah.
So,
no, yeah, you're right. So, but yeah, don't ever pick that.
No.
Ever.
No. Probably needs an FAQ. Defend what's ours. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are no enemy units wholly within your territory.
Quite a hard one.
Yeah, well, they're all hard. Take what's theirs. Complete this strategy if there are more friendly units than enemy units wholly within your opponent's territory. Demonstration strength. You complete this if there are 3 or more Galatian veteran units from your starting army on the battlefield.
Asking quite a lot.
Yeah. Show of dominance. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are any friendly Galatian veteran units in each quarter of the battlefield.
AKA have 4.
Yeah. And be alive and be in those positions.
So you'd never pick show of dominance ever over demonstration of strength?
No. So really, you either go no place for the weak, maybe defend what's ours.
So kill your opponent's battle line, no enemy units in your defend your deployment zone, or
take what's theirs, maybe, or demonstration strength, but the other 2 you won't take.
Yeah,
they're all hard.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that, because it felt poopy and weird that you just got to be like, yeah, I exist and I'm Nurgle, so try and kill 2 great unclean ones, or
try and kill like 5 units of Pasquales or something.
Yeah, exactly. Ethos is to that, so that's an improvement for sure. Even if a couple of all of them should have been. There shouldn't be 2 that are obviously bad ideas in there, especially when one is immediately followed by another, which it's obviously better than and more doable than.
I think the only difference is it doesn't say starting army for show of dominance. So if you summon,
and because Galatian Veterans isn't optional, everything
any battle line unit with 4.
The moment it appears, I'm just checking if that says starting army for Galatian Veterans. I can't find it. Friendly battle line units that have wounds characteristic 4 or less and are not mounted. So it doesn't say starting army or anything. Yeah, no.
So whereas demonstration strength, you have to have these units alive at the beginning. So show of dominance might be okay for stuff like Soulblight Gravelords, where you recycle units or stuff like that. So
yeah. So it depends on some armies can summon stuff that would, and some armies can't. So you need summoning for that one to be. No, that's a very good point. Fair.
Yeah, I just noticed it as we were talking, actually, because I was trying to think that surely that there would be a reason.
Yeah.
Battle
tactics.
This is the big one, right? So, okay. So, you've got gaining momentum. Pick an enemy unit on the battlefield. Complete this if the unit is destroyed during the turn and you control more objectives than your opponent at the end of the turn. So it's a twofold one.
Kind of doable though. Often they'll become.
But you've still got to kill something. Whereas in the current one, you could go, I just control 2 and I do it. So you didn't have to kill anything.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, one would have led directly to the other.
Maybe. But sometimes you don't need to kill. You just have to move models more than them and you just retreat out. And there was a lot you could do without ever rolling dice. I know that it may not be that hard, but you've got to roll dice.
These look a bit like Alex's ones.
Well, I don't know, but they're I don't think they're
no, of that style.
Yeah, well, I think they all. Well, we'll talk about that in general at the end. Let's go through them. So, eye for an eye. Complete this battle tactic if one or more friendly units were destroyed in the previous turn, and one or more enemy units destroyed this turn. So you've got to have lost a unit to then kill a unit.
Yeah.
So again, it's rolling dice, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't say you have to pick. It just says one unit. So
yeah,
you could try and do multiple units in one turn, and you're not. As long as one of them dies, you're okay.
Yeah. By the way, Daughters of Cain players, you could just go make a cup of tea.
Yeah, these are other ones. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Desecrate their land. Pick a terrain feature.
Noble players, stick around.
Yeah. Pick a terrain feature or faction terrain feature that is partially or wholly within your opponent's territory. You complete this battle tactic, control that terrain feature at the end of this turn. So that's a fairly easy one. Because they may not be near a bit of terrain, and you just go, yeah, I've control it. So,
yeah.
This one's mine. Pick an enemy unit on the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic if that unit is destroyed during this turn by an attack made by the model picked to be your general.
Very doable for some armies, less doable for others. Picked to be your general. What happens with the special, always a general one?
I don't know.
He wasn't picked, so that's how I'd read that.
No, and that's how I would read it, but yeah.
Sosroticus.
Was he picked though because you picked him in the army, then he's War Master? I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that.
If it said selected, then I'd say no, but picked, yeah.
Is that the same? Let's get into semantics of pick and selection. Pick and mix. When do we pick and mix this?
In need of clarification. But I think so. That's certain armies are gonna.
If I read it raw, I'd say the one you assigned general to, but
same here. Some armies are just going to be made for that. Some armies are not going to be made for that.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is head-to-head. And
now we're into all the Galatian Veteran keyword ones. So
we are.
So that's 50% of them.
Yeah, pick one enemy Galatian Veterans unit on the battlefield. You can play that battle tactic if that unit is destroyed in the turn by an attack made by friendly Galatian Veteran unit or an ability of friendly Galatian Veterans units. So it can be shooting phase, not restricted to melee. Should be doable at some point in most games.
If you've got veterans.
Well, you've got to turn up.
Yeah, but if you don't take one, your opponent can't score that, right? This is what I'm saying. Like, if you've got a really good army book with loads of really easy ones, maybe you don't take any Galatian veterans.
Yeah. Or maybe if your Galatian veterans are resilient, you're at a huge advantage because you're going to be giving them away less easily. Outmuscle. Pick one enemy Galatian Veterans unit that has any models contesting an objective marked as the Proving Ground. You complete this battle tactic if no models from that unit are contesting the Proving Ground at the end of this turn. Situational, but should be doable in that situation. Again, rolling dice though. Against the odds, pick one unit from your starting army on the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic if at the end of the turn, any models from that unit are contesting an objective you control, and that objective is not being contested by any enemy Galatian veteran models. Any.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you're doing better than them. They can't have any.
So, yeah.
So you can do that with a non-Galatian veteran unit, but you just have to make sure that your opponents are dead.
Or not there.
Yeah.
So, like, you could, as long as you control an objective with no Galatian veterans nearby, you're okay.
Yeah. Barge through enemy lines. You compete this tactic if there are 2 or more units from your starting army wholly within your opponent's territory at the end of the turn. If 2 or more of those units are Galatian veterans, you score 1 additional victory point. So you can get that without it, but you get a bonus point if they are Galatian veterans units. And that's the first time we've seen that. There was plenty more extra ones for monsters. That's the first extra point we've seen available at the very bottom of the list.
And I like that there isn't, because honestly, that whole monster thing was ridiculous, because basically you could get outscored and have no chance of catching, purely because they had monsters.
Yeah,
and they could score tactics without rolling a dice, without engaging
especially if they had shooting or whatever. The lizard list with the steggies.
Yeah, but it was stuff like run 3 monsters, get a bonus point. Have 2 in your territory, get a bonus point. It's like I can't stop that.
No,
like there's no play there. Do you know what I mean? It's just, especially when you can retreat out of combat and fly over things, and it's just like, what's the point?
And lots of movements had a load of move, which made
Gargant's just walking away, like scoring loads of points and going, I've scored loads of points.
Don't worry, they're poor Gargants.
Whoops. It's fine because you just set loads of Galatian veterans, right? Right?
No.
I don't. The thing is, it's a weird thing, right? So, if you have Galatian veterans, the enemy can have formations they do extra damage against them, plus you give up battle tactics. But if you've got them, that allows you to score some battle tactics and the proving ground as well. So it's like,
well, I mean, this
is balance okay, or do you say don't take any, or do you go
no because of book battle tactics? So that discussion is an interesting discussion in a world where some books have incredibly easy ones and some books have like literally 1 or 1.5 doable ones. Iron Jaws, Nurgle jump to mind. Then you can't even compare it because Daughters get to just turn up and be like, yo, I can pick 2 of those. I'm gonna have an option of 6 through the battle. They're all going to be extremely doable, and that's the situation that you just spoke about with the monsters one.
And they've got access to some really good Galatian veteran units, right?
Oh yeah, they have, absolutely. And big ones with,
fast,
with a bit of a ward. Yeah, they're not crazy resilient, but they're not weak.
I think if they don't need to be, if they're quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting. You can't choose not to be. So I was thinking about Nurgle, and I was thinking like if you had a mortal list with like Bloab, Rogus, whatever, and Pusker or Blightlords, you don't have veterans, but you do have bounty hunters. Or does 10 Blight Kings suddenly become awesome?
I don't think they're bad anyway.
I mean, like, you go 10 of them, that's 30 capture power. That's a shed load of wounds, right? I mean,
decent armor save, a massive amount of attacks. You're not getting extra damage on them.
Or do you just put them in bounty hunters anyway and don't take the triple capture? I think for me, I'd rather have the extra damage against other veterans.
Well, when you got that many attacks.
Yeah, I mean, they literally chew infantry to bits.
If you got 10 of them on an objective, like, what opponent's going to be having
after you fought them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, you could count as free, but who cares?
Yeah.
But I think like missile units will end up being the count as free because you don't get a bonus to the missile weapon in damage. So if you're playing like, for me, Reavers become my 10 Reavers counts 30 capture power.
Is it Bliss Barb's time to shine, Russ?
No. Sorry. Did you expect me to take a second to think about that? I think, they could go in the bin where they belong. Sure. When we get to the points, there is a glimmer of hope. I'm lying, there isn't. So we'll
things even get 1%.
All hope is gone. if things got 1% cheaper, then
I'm holding my round.
It'd be fun when we get there. Tune in for the drama. So yeah, that's the tactic. So I don't know, like, I've seen a lot of games, obviously playtester, so I know that generally you can do them, but you generally fail 1 or 2 in a game because you just can't get 5
because of probability.
Yeah, and you just you're not easy, and positional play and things like, there are a couple that you can sneak in, but to do one every turn of the game is actually quite difficult. And the grand strategies are quite difficult. I actually, when I'm playing IDNF, I actually quite like some of their book grand strategies now, especially the Gloomtide one, because the enemy wants to stand next to it to deny you, and then you've got a battle to kill what stood next to it. So you kill them, and it's quite a big swing because you're like,
there's a real swing between grand strategies and battle tactics and books power or not.
And I think that's the issue, because like when some of the stuff was done, obviously we didn't know about these, so they're not balanced for these, they're balanced for the old ones, and the old ones were so much better you never really bothered about them. You're like, well, I've always got generic ones to do, so I don't need to worry about my army book ones, so they doesn't really matter, they can be whatever they want. Now they've suddenly become more important, so anyone who's got
has risen.
And it's the same with the White Dwarf updates. Like I don't know, I don't even read half the White Dwarf updates because there's so many, and I lose track. I know that we actually just got a new White Dwarf of Effect one. There's been a KO one. There's been a Slanesh one. I haven't done videos on that yet. I've done a few. There's a playlist if you want to look at them. I will try and catch up because, they will be more relevant now. So yeah, anyone who's got battle tactics,
if they're good, that's real good.
You only need 1 or 2. 1 or 2 generic army book ones that you can do comfortably,
safely.
And that's why I think I'd never got some really good ones. Obviously, there's when you play missions and there's like run free units, that's gone. That's an easy one you can normally do. So like, there's a lot of the easy ones that you're like, conquer, like aggressive expansions, automatic, and
quite a lot of armies. All those won the first 2 turns in the majority of games.
Like run 3 units, then get 2 units in their territory, then control 2 objectives. You've won the flip flop. I could kill that unit. I've conquered. I've done 4 already. I didn't even think about it. Didn't even have to roll a dice, really. I just had to move models onto things to win the game anyway, and I score the points. And they can't react to it. There's maybe a redeploy, but you can play around that. So,
like, maybe blobby slow armies just got a bit worse.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't get there, like, maybe Nurgle suffers a bit. It's not suffering in a load of other ways. It'll be fine. But maybe with these, Nurgle suffers a little.
I don't know if they care. Like, I think Nurgle's still viable. Like, I mean,
I'm not saying they're not
Blight
viable,
King's now an option that you might consider. I think drones go up in stock because essentially infantry go up in frequency, so they're going to go up in stock. I think even things like Ogre Moor tribes that, Iron Guts, or like, just whatever they're called, Underguts, whatever they are, the normal ogres, or augurs, I should say, go up. Brutes go up in stock, maybe.
Well, now that the second rank can attack if there's 10.
Ard boys go up in stock. Maybe you need to rip off all your 2-inch reach weapons and put choppers on. I don't know.
In Warhammer in general, just rip them all off.
Just rip it off. So scenarios. So there's 12. There's a lot. I think
it's more than 6. So this is already wrong.
Okay, sure. So
got very fixed opinions about there being lots of scenarios.
So I think we'll talk through these. So like, we got the prize of Galat. The objectives are very close together, like looking at this. So it says victory points you basically scored for objectives you control can only be scored if the objective is activated. So at the start of each battle round, after players determine who will take the first turn, the player who will take the second turn can pick and activate one. They must pick. The active objective remains activated for the rest of the battle. In addition, the objectives on the border cannot be activated until the start of the second round. So your objectives are going to be dormant, and the person who goes second goes, that's active.
Being one of the 3 central ones, because it can't be either of them.
And then next turn, whoever goes second, that's now active. Now, remember that Proving Ground is the person who goes second as well. So you could activate the one and make it a Proving Ground. So if you've got veterans, you can score it, they can't. And then you're like, then you score, it's score 1, then it's score 2, then it's score more, then it's 2 for the tactics. So that's the same format as normal that we used to.
It's a really narrow scenario. It's like play a game in a tiny box in the middle.
Which is why, like, armies that have, like, take Nurgle, slow, don't care, because you can blob in the middle and you're going to be able to get to any of them. You're going to have got access to resilient veterans. You don't care about going second in a battle round. Whereas on the flip of that, I do care about going second in the battle round. I don't have resiliency. And so it's difficult. So, like, this mission, it's quite...
Even Gargants are kind of okay in this, because...
The only issue with Gargants is if you've got playing against someone who's got veterans, they go, oh, that's a... I cast a spell on that one, he doesn't count. That one on the other one, that's a Proving Ground. You don't count. I capture that, so I capture both. Even though you've got 2 Gargants still on them, you still don't get it.
Yeah, you're 70 points down for nothing. That spell needs clarification, obviously.
Well, I think it's how it works. That's what it says. So model is one model.
It is.
Goes down to half a model, counts as no models. And
it doesn't feel like a good idea. It just feels like it needs to a minimum of 1 at the end of it. Because
whether or not Mightier makes Rightier overrules the normal capture rules, so maybe you could argue, but then it still doesn't count as a model on the objective. Yeah. So would it kick in? So I don't think it would. I imagine there'll be an FAQ at some point, and I would say the sensible option. I'd not say I don't know. I would say the sensible option would be they do keep their rule and they do count, because I don't think they need to be kicked in the balls any harder than they already have been with this. So
they're already giving away target points, aren't they, and stuff like that. They're having a hard time.
But I mean, you can make all your megas +1 damage, because you put them in 2 bounty hunter formations and just be like, pff. Can you duplicate them? You couldn't the previous ones. Well, you couldn't the previous, so I don't know if. Let's have a quick look. What's it say? Because I remember before you could only have hunters once. You could only have thing once, right? You include in your army. You cannot include more than once. So yeah, you can only have 3. So you could have 2 megas in the Mega Stomp, and you could have 2 in the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So, put your 2 combat ones, your 2 gate breakers in the combat, in the bounty hunters, they're +1 damage, and then put your, your Krakens or whatever you've got. Well, it has to be War Stompers, I guess, in Expert Conquerors, get your second artifact, put both the artifacts on the gate breakers. They're going to go in, cause some havoc. So, next scenario, which is a funny one, and that's the Realmstone Cache, Byron's new favourite mission.
Right, okay. Let's start. If you have terrain in your territory, there are multiple armies in the game that cannot fit in this space.
Let's just see your little diagram that you put your models on the table and you measured it out.
Is this the correct one when I measured it correctly?
Yeah. Okay. So that's your Nurgle list.
Yeah.
That's your deployment zone in this scenario, which is 11 inches by 30.
I tried putting a roughly 6 by 6 square building. Whoa, full, unoptionally full. But not only that, but because of where the objectives can be, there's some weird stuff with trees and faction terrain that can't be next to objectives and stuff.
Yeah, but I think the objective's in the middle at the start and then it splits out. So
yeah, but can an objective choose to be? I don't know about that. Maybe that's something.
I think if the objective's not there when you set the tree up, it's fine. If the objective scatters onto it, it's fine, because you've already placed the tree, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I guess you go down. But yeah, there's a load of quite big armies out there. Big Beastman army with a terrain piece. If there is any terrain on the table in these zones, you would be. I think people look at it and think it seems fine. Especially when you see my picture. I've made it all fit in a box. That might not be how you want to deploy. Yeah, this is well weird.
Like, it doesn't really help if you've got an army that the opponent can like ambush you from the sides and you just can't screen it, because you can't put anything within 9 of the edge. So like, you know, you imagine you're playing like, I'm going to read this and there'll be no reserves or something, but let's just have a quick look at the scenario itself. So you have deployment. At the start of the 3rd battle round, the realm stone cache detonates and scatters fragments. So basically you roll a d3 and they either go like that way, or they go that way, or they go that way.
Kind of cool.
It is cool. I like this one actually from a theme.
It's random, but it's not too random. They're still going
in a line.
Roughly there. Yeah.
And it's 1-2 more battle tactic. So yeah, there's no like no reserves or anything. So if you've got something like a Soul Scryer, and you go, right, I'll put the boat, you know, with the boat artifact, you come in here, put the boat, put your Reavers behind it, shoot them. You've suddenly like, you've actually like, you can't be screened off. So it's like
pinned. Some army's going to get absolutely pinned in this situation.
It's like, I actually like this mission, and I know you think the deployment zone is small. And it is, but I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I think it depends on the terrain. And if you go to a table and there's like massive building like in the middle of that, you're just gonna have to say, look, can we move that? Because that's not before you start setting up and everything.
But if you're meant to have 8 pieces on the table, suddenly all of those 8 pieces have to not, like, if you're a TO, I'd say that you specifically in this one choose that to not be terrain unless it's tiny in those zones,
or it's like cover or something. Is fine as long as it's not impassable. You're okay.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I mean, it's no different than when you play Star Strike, right? And you just make sure that all the nodes that the objectives can drop on don't have a big tower on it. I mean, it's like, it's fine. I don't think it's that bad. I think it does mean that anyone who can like teleport or so, it is going to be a nightmare. And you're not going to like it as Nurgle because your territory is tiny and their territory is tiny, so your contagion is going to be shit.
If anyone's got AoE damage at range as well, he gets to go first.
Knight Judicator is just
that's going to feel pretty good. Yes, Celestin Prime.
Or
what's your touch?
You just play against Seraphon and they just blow up the terrain that's in the middle of the territory. And you're like,
fuck. Yeah. But I think it's an interesting scenario.
It is. I actually quite like it.
That box is too small. Just for note, that's the smallest box that's ever been in Warhammer.
Someone's going to correct you now.
The smallest we had was 3.
Oh, actually,
on this table size, the smallest.
There was a scenario called Flank Attack from the 1990s, and the secondary table for the flanking force had a smaller deployment zone. Sorry.
Cheers, guys. We love you. But yeah, like an L-shaped 3 box is the smallest we've had previously. And like, there's a big difference in L because you get to span across it and bob around. You get a corner, which is nice and stuff like that. This is really, really different from that. I like the concept of the scenario, but I don't like that box. It's too small.
Yeah.
IMO. Yeah.
Then we've got battle lines drawn. So again, you've got a hold fast rule. So you fight to control the quarters of the table. So this is a bit like the old scenario back in the day.
I like that. We've been talking about something like that.
So a quarter is done in the same as an objective, except the models must be wholly within a quarter to contest it. So not units, but models. In addition, each quarter counts as an objective for the purpose of grand strategies, battle tactics, and abilities. So
I'm down with that. It's different, but not in some contrived way. I actually was asking if we could try writing up a scenario like this, so that's cool.
And this rule is quite interesting. In this battle, units cannot be removed from the battlefield with an effect that would allow them to be set up again later in the battle.
Cool. I'm down with that too. That's interesting.
No translocate, no Steed of Tides.
Handpipes, yeah.
Well, we'll get on to Sylvaneth today later because we've got a whole book to look at. No, like, Shadow Stalkers. But does it say you can't use reserves? Because you're not on the table, right?
Yeah.
It's when you're removed from the battlefield and set up later. Now, how does that work with the Gloomspite Gitz Loon Shrine? How does that work with returning slain units from... Because it's a different unit, right? Or is it the same unit? It's a different unit, right? And then Soulblight Gravehold's Graves. So
but you don't remove it. It got deaded.
True. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's okay then. I thought, oh, maybe that will stop that. Yeah, you're right. I think that's right. So it's stuff like Translocate and things like that, which I think is good. Like, interesting.
That's interesting. Different, yeah.
No amber teleports for me. So again, it's 1 for 1 quarter, 2 or 2 quarters, 1 if you have more, 2 your tactic. So again,
down for that. I
think it's okay. Like,
yeah, I like it.
Lurkers Below, which is used to be the old realm of life with a spell, which was the one used to drag people down to the death. Each player picks their army, blah, 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 attacker, defender. So alternate deployment, you're playing end to end. So in this battle, you must control the objective on the border of your territory before you can contest the objective at the middle of the battlefield. In addition, you must control the objective at the center before you can contest the objective on the border of your opponents.
Please play the game in a narrow box.
Basically, you need to like push them back. So you're playing in a blob and you're moving up. So some armies are going to love this.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because you only need to hold... Well, you only need to hold the one that's the most on the edge. So they can't nip around the back and take the back one because they've got to hold the net. So literally, it's almost like a tug of war. So, but more push of war.
Who gets priority rounds? Who's going to feel... Your opponent will be able to deny... Oh, the deny is going to be weird. The thingy, what's it called? I forgot already. Turning off the objective.
Yes. Because
that's going to feel so weird. It's going to feel mental.
But then remember, they can only be picked once. So if you had you can't control until first battle round.
Your opponent's going to want to get there. They'll just be like, no.
But then you might have to give the turn away to stop it, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting scenario. I think it's a strange one, right? Because you're like, oh, okay, so I can. But we're talking about this proving ground, right? So you can't control in the first battle round. So it goes to the second battle round. They win the roll. They might want to take the turn, but then they go, actually, if I take the turn, they can Galatian Veteran one of the objectives that I can't get to as a proving ground, and then I can't. Maybe you don't have veterans. I don't know. So then, if they turn off the objective, say you haven't got any veterans, right? So they pick your objective, you can't score it.
Exactly.
Because you don't have it already.
And you can't score it, so you can't score the next one.
So then they're like...
You're behind.
You're behind already. And then if you win the roll again, you could do the middle one.
Yeah.
And then you're like... And then you guarantee you get it. So in the third battle,
you could have blobbed in the way here. You don't have to be controlling something to be blobbing on it and obscuring people from getting there. It's a really narrow shunt. Well, as it's been designed, it's really narrow and shunty. You barely care about the not middle strip of the table.
So when you're talking about like Nurgle, big blob up the table. Fine. Love it. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Some of these Deep can hate. Like honestly.
I 6 the run on my front unit, and then I chug everything up behind it. Hello. Exist. Life.
This one is weird. Okay. The next one is I've got the Nidus Pass. These might be in a slightly different order because the pictures, but you know.
Yeah. So
Nidus Paths. So we've got the diagonal deployment. You've got 4 objectives, and you've got these pathways. So you basically... The attacker picks territories, defender, set up 9 inches away from your opponent's territories. So the battlefield hosts 4 tunnels called the Nidus Paths. Each Nidus Path is in the corner. At the end of their movement phase, a player can pick 1 unit wholly within 6 of a Nidus Path, remove it from the battlefield, and set up again 6 of that Nidus Path's twin, more than 9 from enemy units. So they're the opposite. Yeah, diagonally opposite.
Okay, cool.
So you can teleport your units around as long as there's no enemy there. So, like, if your opponent is in the middle of the board, you're able to almost like redeploy stuff around. So it's a bit strange.
But they just have to leave one guy on that thing.
Yeah, but some people, but that's that's 2 points you have to leave one guy with it. So it's the whole game you have to think about it.
But there's still objectives to be scored, so...
Yeah, but I'm just saying that it's hard to screen off and hold the objective.
Yeah.
So,
and planning ahead, if they've screened light, then you can kill it, and if you get the turn, then you could zap something over.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
It also, like, if you've got something like, this is why I look at the Soul Scryer, turn 1, you come on from the edge and then you basically blob on one Nidus path. You've got the ability to teleport that unit to the other Nidus path and shoot something on the other objective. So you've got a way of moving the units like that.
Particularly powerful with shooting units to be able to shoot your opponent's screens off the turn you blob as well.
So, yeah. And it's, again, 1, 2 more battle tactics. So, same.
At least that's consistent. I'm down for more consistency with scoring.
Yeah. Then we've got Won't Back Down. So, this has got rally points, apparently. So, if a player uses the rally command and that unit is wholly within 6 of an objective that they control, then roll a dice for a slain model for the unit. They return 1 slain on a 5 instead of a 6. If the unit has the Galatian Veteran unit, they return it on a 4.
Ooh, that's going to feel grim. Big units, that's going to feel awful.
So, people rallying units back on 4s and their veterans, like, you imagine, like, you've got 2 Blight Kings left, they kill the unit, they go into their turn, you go, I'm going to rally that 6 unit. Just put 6 back on the thing, it's fine, like,
or getting to roll 20 dice for a Witch Elf blob or something.
I mean, obviously, like, that's pretty big because you can rally in your opponent's hero phase, so there is some stuff that shuts rally down, like, I think there's one of the Nurgle wheel steps stops it as well, so
does, yeah.
Interesting one. I don't know if I like that one. Big territories, and it's 9 away, and you've got the 6 objectives, so
long range deployment. Benefits long range shooting units quite heavily, that deployment.
Yeah, but then you're giving the objectives up, and if they can rally back on a 4, you shoot half their unit off, they just rally them back because you're not in combat with them. So I'm not sure it does favour shooting, to be honest. You need to be in melee with it as well, because otherwise they can rally. So if you shot, like, say you got like Reavers and you shoot off half a unit of, like, I don't know, any infantry,
you're not banking on it.
No. Yeah. You need to, like, so I actually think shooting becomes less effective because rally is so good. Like, but imagine, but then on the converse side of that, imagine bow snakes. So bow snakes would be veterans if they're battle line, rallying them back on a 4. I think you could do that in Daughters anyway with the artifact. I can't remember. They got some bonus, haven't they? So probably they get all the rules. It's fine. Mighty and Cunning. So this is a bit strange. 4 objectives not on the corners across the middle of the table. Then you've got the same objective can be picked as the Proven Ground more than once. So you can keep picking the same one if you want. If you score 2 victory points each time a Galatian Veteran unit is destroyed, score 1 addition if that enemy Galatian Veteran unit was controlling an objective when it was destroyed. So killing veterans gives you points. So if you don't have any Galatian Veterans, you ain't giving up any points, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I think there's an interesting choice. Do you take them, or do you not take them, or do you take a balance? I don't know what the right answer is. It would very
much, if any packs said what scenarios they were running, it would be huge, wouldn't it? Selecting.
I think this one might turn up a lot to punish people who do have really good Galatian Veteran. It's a bit like the no reserves one.
Yeah, it's also wide, so you can't do the Nurgle strats we were talking about. Just take some guys and tractor up the middle with this.
Yeah. Then we've got head-on collision. So again, diagonal boxes, you can see on the screen. Objectives cannot be controlled in the first battle round. Players do not gain control of objectives after setup is complete. And it says score 1 victory point if you control the objective wholly within your territory, 2 if you control the center, 4 if you get the one that's in your opponent's territory.
Old school scoring.
Score 1 victory point if you gain control of an objective this turn, and there any friendly Galatian veterans are in 6. And 2 so if your veterans take the objective, you score more. So proving ground becomes quite big if you've got veterans that can be on the objective and outnumber people. Again, if you're taking the triple objective score formation as well, so maybe you've got 20 plague bearers that count as 30 models, whatever they are, that'd be 60 models, sorry. Then they ain't dying, you know. You could even up their wounds to 3 each if you really want to, a fleshy abundance. So it's all good. Yeah, quite a nice scenario because you're just head on. There's no side play really. Then we got the Silk Steel Nests. So 8 objectives on this one, quite a lot. Players alternate deployment, starting with the attacker. Each player must set the units wholly within their territory more 9 away. Start from the second battle round. After you score victory points, you can pillage one objective that you control that is wholly within your opponent's territory, that is within 1 inch of a friendly unit, so it's burning. If you do score 1 additional victory point, the objective is removed from play. You cannot pillage more than 1 per turn.
At least it's not D3 or something variable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. After the objective has been pillaged, before it's removed from play, the player whose turn is taken plus must roll 2d6 for each unit within 9 of the objective. If the roll is equal to or greater than the bravery, they take D3 mortal wounds.
Nah.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Doesn't matter.
So score 1 if you control at least 1, 1 if you control 2, 1 if you control more, and obviously you get the extra raiding ones. So it's okay. I mean, I like the fact you still score normally and you can pillage, but you can't do your own. You only can do theirs, and it's quite an interesting mission. I don't know how often that bravery thing will turn up, but
no.
But it is each unit within 9, so it's quite a big radius.
That's a big bubble, yeah.
And it's every unit, enemy and friendly. It's not just yours, so it could be quite big because if they've got stuff around it that isn't particularly brave, and you burn it, you capture it, burn it. It could be even heroes like taking D3
or they just got characters.
Yeah, exactly. Like
9,
Skaven characters, maybe goblin characters. You know, I think the idea is that this is like the nest is destroyed and all this these spidery things come out. So then we got close to the chest, which is a really interesting map. I've not seen it like this one before. It's like an L shape, but like a proper.
I like the idea
L.
of this.
And then you've got an alpha. So the map shows which objectives belong to which player. At the start of each player's turn, the opposing player picks one of their own to be the alpha. For example, if it's the attacker's turn, the defender picks one of the defender's objectives to be the alpha. So you're picking the one that counts as more points, I think. And you get 1 if you control at least 1 if you control 2, 1 if you control more than your opponent, 1 if you control the alpha. So they're picking the one that you need to capture, basically.
Makes a difference. Not a huge difference, but it will make a difference.
Mm-hmm. It's quite interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, and you're 9 away, so you're really close.
Yeah.
Like mega close.
You also end up with interesting, like, narrow strips.
Yeah.
At the edge, because being 9 away is going to give you a very
Yeah, so you could fit. It's a 15-inch across, so you've only got 6 inches to play for in that band down the side. So you could put like a 5-inch base there, stuff like that. So like you're almost like doing this mirror of it.
Yeah.
It's unusual. So yeah, it's an interesting mission, I think.
I like that. I like that the alpha makes a difference, but not a massive one. I think that's a nice weighting of points.
I mean, it was quite interesting as well. At the start of each player's turn, the opposing player. So I don't think you'd be able to pick the proving ground, but you could mess with their choice by picking one as the proving ground. Either they don't want that one to be, but then that means you're controlling which two it might be. See, I don't know. I'd have to play it. I haven't played this one. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, so far, I mean, they're quite interested in these missions. Turf War, no reserves. The rule that everyone loves to hate, or hates to love. I don't know, or loves it. I don't know. So yeah, you can't set up reserves. Summon units cannot shoot or charge in a turn they were added to your army.
Interesting.
And then it's just, there's only 2 objectives. Score 1 if you control 1, 1 if you control both, 1 if you control more, 2 if you did your battle tactic. So quite a big, it's 9 away from the territory as well. So just 2 in the middle.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is this an effort to speed up the game? Like you are in your opponent's face and in their grill, but by definition that kind of weights things more towards certain types of unit, or like shooting units for long range. You're going to be able to reach the majority of the battlefield.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that's a conscious decision, but I just think that you're going to have to decide whether you use the depth because your army needs to play a longer game, and then let them take position and then take them off it, or you deploy aggressively, knowing that, like Nurgle, you could deploy right on the line, you're resilient, you don't care. If you're not a resilient army, you're probably going to have to deploy back and let them go on and then try and alpha strike them off. So like with Deepkin, for example, I would be like, well, I'll let you come on, I'll shoot you, then I'll hopefully win the turn, and I'll charge you and try and kill you on the charge and then take the objective. So like I'll give it up, so but going first in that turn, you're going to score about all of it, and it's actually very hard during the game to then score all of it at any point in the game. So you're going to have to try and kill them by turn 5 to then counteract. So again, interesting.
There's a lot where it feels like if someone gets up
early,
it's gonna be quite a grind to get them back, and if you do catch them, you're going to be catching them like turn 5.
No reserves. Summoning can't charge or shoot. It's quite big.
It's nice that there's a weighting, so it's not hugely in favour of summoning versus reserves. I think that seems fair.
Yeah. So that's all the missions. We'll see. I don't think there's any in there that are particularly awful. Like there's no like the Vice or like auto win turn 3 or anything like that. So like marking territory is not there, or Apex Predators with your heroes. Oh, is it Apex? I don't know if it's what it's called. I think it might be Alpha or Alpha, whatever. Your heroes controlling. There's no random roll for an objective to be worth more than it is. So sometimes you play Tectonic and you always keep rolling one side and they happen to be there. It's just causing you to lose the game.
Randomizing whether it's here, here, or here is very different to randomizing whether it's here, here, or here. Like that's much better. Yeah,
and I think you're not saying there isn't really an element of randomness. It's always choice. So either you get the choice, they get the choice, and a lot of the choice revolves around the turn mechanic of who takes the turn and who doesn't take the turn. So the scenarios really do add a lot of depth to what's going on. So that's the scenarios. So we're going to talk about endless spells, because some of this is bonkers.
Mental. Like crazy.
So you've got a page which says what is legal, which is quite important. Okay. So all the battle terms are listed. Would be funny if there was a typo saying it wasn't there. Expansions. Wrath of the Everchosen, Broken Realms. Yeah, fine. Other publications. Compendium Monsters Arcanum, excluding Warhammer Legends. Monstrous Arcanum. White Dwarf Battle Tome updates, and the Seasons of War Fondia, all legal. So incarnates are match play legal in this battle pack, according to this. Obviously, there are house rules if you don't like them. I'm in that camp. So endless spells. So some haven't changed. Okay, so we're going to skip over them. Horrorghast, basically the same. It might go up a bit in value because of the points might have changed. We'll get to that later. Okay, so Eighth Void Pendulum, basically not changed. Cogs, Bit of a change. So cogs now, still speed up, slow down time. However, if you increase time, players, that's both players, can re-roll charge rolls for friendly units wholly within 12 at the end of the spell.
Quite big deal.
Very big deal.
That's going to be all of someone's army in some situations.
Could be pretty impactful, especially if you're playing like Augurs with Kragnos, 3d6 charge, put a wizard in,
right.
Drop that, run forward, 3d6 for a reroll. I mean, I know you can get it anyway from a Frostlord command ability, but this is like, you know, another way of doing it.
Yeah.
If you're decreasing the flow of time, players can reroll casting rolls for friendly wizards wholly within 12. That is every wizard. Nagash rerolling his casts. Doesn't say once. Every cast.
Yep.
Every wizard.
Rerolling that army.
I mean, I know before when it was one extra, but rerolling all your casting, that is bonkers.
Cogs just got like 4 times better to apply an arbitrary.
I mean,
is this 400% better or more impactful?
Like rerolling cast. I mean, just like some spells, like you think like Nurgle, for example, Master of Magic. You have to take that now. You just go, all right, I'll take Nurgle Infestation. So, you know, cogs, great. And if you have any wizards within 6, at the start of the hero phase, you can change whether it's speeding or slowing. You know, we know that. That's fine. Chronomatic cogs. Bearing in mind, points have changed. They've gone down on a lot of these. Okay. Life Swarm. Nerf onto Life Swarm. No double dipping. You don't get it when you set up and when you move it.
Good. Seems fair.
Yeah. And you can pick one unit, heal D3 or return D3. So Life Swarm's pretty... It's same points. It's got a little bit worse.
Normal. Yeah.
Geminids of Orgish. Basically the same, but they've gone down dramatically in points. 50% drop. I mean, they've gone from 80 to 40.
Has anything ever gone down 50% before in the history of the game?
No. I could tell you something's gone down 1%, but you already know that.
I do.
Sorry. Maelstrom, same.
Yep.
Let's talk about this. Palisade is now the nuts.
What is this? Hit me with some rules, Russ.
Cast it on a 5, range of 8. So it's not a massive range, and it's only got a 6-inch effect. But units, that's all units, so it's yours and theirs, cannot make shooting attacks if you're within 6. And you add 3 to the range at the start of each battle round after it was summoned. Like, you don't worry about Unleash Hell. This spell, you could just bonk. No, you can't shoot me. I'm going to charge you. You can't Unleash Hell because you can't shoot.
Are you taking an army that doesn't like to be shot?
And if you don't have an Unbind, a Dispel, I should say.
Yeah.
Wow. And you can use that defensively by putting it in the middle of the table, for example, and going with you can't drop within 6 of that because then you can't shoot. If you're playing against KO, for example. I mean, good change. Very powerful.
Some army's going to want that.
It's very situational, but you know, that could be amazing.
Yeah, depends what the meta is like. Obviously, local meta, world meta.
Can Teclis teleport then drop that? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I've got to teleport and re-roll it if someone else has put some cogs on the table.
Don't need to re-roll. Just go.
Oh, you're Teclis.
You just go, yeah, it's auto cast, don't re-roll. On a 10. I should just do it on a 12. Can't unbind it. Whatever. Purple Sun. Suddenly got scary. So it's cast on an 8 and a range of an 8. It can move 8. End given form. So you subtract 1 to save rolls for attacks that target units within 6 of the spell. So you're just -1. Like that's fine. It's you and it's everyone. You can't, you know, let's be honest about that. But there is stuff you can do where you can tag the corner of a unit, the end of a unit, and then you charge the other side, and then you're okay. In addition, roll a dice for each unit within 3 of this end of spell. On a 1, 1 model from that unit is slain.
What if it's my dragon, Russ?
Dead.
Dead.
What if it's blow up? Dead.
Dead.
What if it's anything that doesn't have an auto death ignore? Dead.
What if your army's all blobbed together in a tiny deployment zone?
I'm running the Thricefold Befoulment, and he dropped that into the middle of all 3 Great Unclean, and I rolled a 1-1-1. Game over, bro. Holy shit, that's scary.
Yeah, that's properly scary.
And even if you don't roll that one, you must one save.
Yeah, great.
And it's attacks, shooting, and melee. So, drop it next to someone. I mean, this is why you might put it through a portal, right?
You're gonna give them the shivers, yeah.
Yeah. I think what was the book that had double range on endless spells? There was a thing, was there a trait? I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, there was.
So I remember reading it somewhere.
Was it Old Daughters?
Is it in the Daughters book? I think it's in the New Daughters book. Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah. So, you basically go, well, you must one save, and if I roll 1, dead. But you don't just roll for 1 unit, you roll for every unit within 3.
Sometimes you're going to be rolling, sometimes you're going to put that down in a situation where statistically you should get a unit just losing a thing. And if your opponent's running a lot of big things, let's say it was
Do you imagine just tagging 3 units of Puscals, just rolling 2 1s? You'd just be like, ugh.
Can you imagine if your opponent's playing Beastclaw Raiders?
Oh, the dream.
They're gonna shiver, aren't they? Roll for those 4 Grumple Tusks. Let's go.
Yeah. Quicksilver Swords. Cast on the 6.
Never taken previously in its previous iteration.
Range of 6. Can move 8. Pick a unit as any models it passed across. Roll 12 dice. On a 5-up, they take a mortal wound. In addition, mortal wounds cannot be negated.
Very similar.
Yeah, it used to be 6s.
Oh, 6s.
And you could take your after saves. No, you can't. So 12 dice on a 5-up, you can't negate those wounds with your Nurgle save. You can't bounce them. Pretty scary. Nighthaunt aren't going to like that.
No, they definitely wouldn't.
Yeah. What's your ward saver, Linda? It doesn't matter. Ravenak's Gnashing Jaws. This one's changed. It's a 3d6 move fly, but you can re-roll if you've summoned it that turn. After it's moved, pick one enemy unit as models passed across that is within 1 inch of it. Roll a dice on a 2+. If the roll for the end of the spell move was greater than its move, they take mortal wounds to the difference. So whatever its move was, take their movement away. That's how many mortal wounds they take. I tell you from experience, hits really hard.
You need a spike. 1 spike, it's going to feel bad.
Nurgle hate it. Movement 4, Osteopodrupus hate it. Low movement stuff just hates it. Even like a character, like a movement 5 character, if you roll a 10 on 3d6, which is average, it's 5 mortals.
10 or 11, that's average, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 10.5. Split hairs.
Excuse me.
Obviously, I know you're going to tell me you can't roll a 10.5 on 3 dice, but there you go. So, yeah. Units within 6 of the endless spell cannot run or charge for the Soulsword Jackals, which I think is the same. So I don't think they've changed at all. And I think the setup is range of 8. Set up the parts wholly within 3 of each other and wholly within range. So yeah, it's basically the same. I don't think it's changed. Gravetide's not changed. Burning Head, a little bit of an update. After the spell is moved, if any units within 3 inches of it, not 1, roll a dice for each unit. On a 2+, they take D3 mortal wounds. So that as a 1-shot and then explode, that's a bigger radius now to hit stuff. So I quite like the Burning Head.
Yeah.
We've got the Shards of Valagar. This has changed slightly. So after the spell move, draw a straight line between the closest points of each of the endless spells. Each unit passed across the line is ensnared half their movement. In addition, the unit cannot fly or be removed from the battlefield with an effect that would let it be set up again in the same turn. So it stops you teleporting stuff.
Yeah. That'll come up infrequently, but could feel okay. You going to take that?
It's an 18-inch range from the caster. So, and a 12-inch line. So maybe it'd be quite good against Caradrons, like not being able to fly high and stuff. I mean, it's like, I don't know, maybe. Like, I don't think it's awful.
No.
I mean, you're quite close together as well, so you might see it. I don't know. I think it's a bit cute. So, Luncheon, the Soul Seeker, does the same. So again, it's still a wizard wholly within 3, so you can't teleport big guys with it. So you might want to do something cute with you cast this, then you put it within range of the caster, then it moves 18, and then you pick, before you move it, pick a friendly wizard wholly within 3, so it doesn't have to be the wizard that cast it. So you could go, I'm going to cast it from this wizard, I'm going to then tag this wizard, teleport that wizard, then he's going to cast Purple Sun or whatever. So there's a chain mechanic you could do with that, maybe. Don't know. Might work. I don't think it's a bit cute.
A cute page.
Spell Portal does what it does. Same.
Would have liked that to change a bit.
I think it's so like, it's almost iconic now, isn't it? It's been the same pretty much.
Yeah, but it's also kind of mandatory with some models, which feels weird.
Yeah. Obviously, I think you pick one part, not both, so it stops the double explode thing. That was FAQ'd anyway. Soul Scream Bridge. Remove 1 unit that's wholly within 6, and set up wholly within 6 the other part. More than 9 away. So it's basically the same. It's basically not changed. And that's it. So I guess that means we just talk about points, right? So
the spells. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about points now. So just put those up on the screen. Get rid of Yoda.
Starting with the spells, I guess.
Yeah. So I started like marking stuff, and I just decided I'd put the points adjustments in the margin. So you can see things like Pendulum's gone down 25, Cogs have gone down 5, Gemini's gone down 40, Horror Gas has gone down like 25, Luncheon's gone down 25, the Maelstrom's gone down 15, Palisade, Purple Sun, Burning Head, and Umbra are all the same. Quicksilver Swords, despite getting better, has gone down 30. Gnashing Jaws has gone up 5. Shards of Valdagar has gone down 20. Soul Scream Bridge has gone down or up 10, I think. I think it's gone down, actually. I think it was like 110, actually. I might have miswrote that. So Shackles have gone down. Gravetide's gone down. So what you see here is a lot of the spells are 50 points or less.
Yeah.
And I always found that a lot of lists I'd write would have to be 1950, and I'd look at the end of spells and go, what do I take? Burning Head's the only choice. So
I'm not going to take that one. I'll just take a Triumph for that.
Yeah, and now you've got loads of choice. So I know it's a big drop, but I actually think they're just too expensive because you never saw a lot of them.
Yeah.
Whether or not Purple Sun going off in your army is going to be a lot of fun, but we used to play a game where you 6 dice cast double 6 take off units, so maybe it's fine. I don't know.
I don't think anyone wants to go back to that.
But I don't know. Some people do. You know, they come out the woodwork. They'll be like,
let's speed up some games, bros. Let's go.
Wow. Oh, what happened? Turn 1, he dropped a Purple Sun in my arm and I rolled a 1 for my Grand Clean one. Cool.
Shook hands left, done.
Game over, boys.
Yep, re-rack, go.
Not even re-rack. Don't want to play. Got the result now. Didn't actually want to spend 2 hours across the table from someone anyway. Don't like people. Just kidding.
That's what we're getting here. That's what we're here for with our sociable game.
Yeah. That's what we want. Don't actually just win at all costs. Don't care about the other person. That's what it's about, right? It's not a social contract. I'm joking before I get hate in the comments, by the way.
Should we preface the point stuff with not much has changed by not much?
Yeah. So I'm not going to go through and show every point thing because some just haven't changed. It's completely pointless. What I will say is that there are very little changes, and what changes there are, I think, are so insequential it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We can put some percentages on how little it matters coming up.
So obviously people are going to want to know, so we're going to go through it. then we'll talk about it. So, what have we got? We've got Ogre tribes. I think Frostlord and Stonehorn went down 15. Nothing else has changed. There might be stuff I've missed here because I quickly scrolled through War Scroll Builder with the book with a pen.
Yeah, pop corrections down below if we missed a thing.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss a few. Particularly is there stuff that nobody takes or I don't care about, which is quite a lot of stuff in the Order faction, I'm afraid. So Gloomspite, bit weird. Just the endless spells, really.
Souls guys.
But quite big reductions, I think.
On the spells, yeah. On the was it the cauldron?
I think the mushrooms got down like 60. Yeah. From 100 to 40. The cauldron went up 10. Everything else went down. Didn't see any other points changes on the units. So that's it for destruction. You literally Stonehorn and the end of spells and Gloomspite gets. Now, yeah, not a lot. Death.
Okay.
Feck. No changes to the units.
Those boys. Stop winning tournaments.
So yeah, damn you, Bill. No, I'm kidding. It's not his fault. So it might be. So we've got the Barricade, the Chalice, and the Stampede have all gone down 15, 20, 30. So it's quite a big big drops. Chalice is great, going down 20 points.
Spells are great.
They are great. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Head Knights. Oh, have I gone past?
You missed your Bony Bros.
I'll come to them later. They're not in order. They're just in a random order.
Head Knights. So don't worry. There's plenty.
Well, we'll come back to them. They're fun, right? So everyone's gonna be pausing the video now because they're like, "Oh, I want to see the points." I'll see up Bone Reapers. There we go. So quite a lot of changes here. Some I don't understand. So Bone Shaper and the Soul Mason have dropped. They're all 115, the characters. Now, Soul Reapers, I've never painted mine. I don't think I've ever seen one on the table. I always take a Soul Mason. I've seen Bone Shapers. Soul Masons are great. 2 cast wizard, 115 points. Yes, please. Particularly with the White Dwarf update where you can auto cast a spell.
They got some good items as well that they can. Yeah, they're great.
Arcan's down by 20. I think his increase of 20 was silly anyway, so that's good. Nagash is still a hot pile of trash at 955. Don't take him. I feel passionate about these. You could disagree with me. That's fine. We're entitled to our opinion. I'm just saying. Then we've got the Immortis Guard have gone down. They're 175, but they're still the same points as Stalkers. Stalkers are better. They've gone down 5, 175. Morghast Archive, Morghast Harbingers. Take that 5-point increase that they put on, back off again. Do the okie dokie, we turn around, you still don't take them. And that's what it's all about, hey. So yeah, that's the Ocelot Bone Reaper faction.
Some of them, one of the most changed factions.
They've got a lot. Then I think, if I can find it, I don't know if I've got it. Soul Blight, I think I might miss the picture. Yeah. Basically, zombies went up by 5, skeletons went down by 5. That's it.
Consequential stuff.
I actually, so consequential, I forgot to take a photo. Sorry. I was going fast.
The world's not going to change. The people who are taking armies of zombies, you still can't afford another unit. So.
Now, Head Knights have had a lot of drops, but not probably where they need it. However, it's still nice to see a little bit of drop on the army. I'll caveat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's discuss.
So, Demonists went down by 10, which is basically the only unit that went down.
Yeah.
So, your Fiend Bloods, Slangor Fiend Bloods, obviously
still OP.
Still crap
everywhere. Can't move for them.
Can't move on eBay for the people trying to sell them who stupidly bought them. Sex cows, that's what we want.
Any cows just aren't getting the love they want in this edition.
It's because everyone's gone to soya milk. That's it.
The Lumineth have gone to soya
They've
milk.
Gone, yeah, they were always on soya. Sorry. They're definitely... I'm going to stop. Right, so before I say something I'll get in trouble with. So Bladebringer's gone down 5, Epitomy's gone down 10, Enraptures has gone down 10, Lord of Pain's gone down 15, which is nice because he was hot garbage at 155. The mask is still hot garbage, but you know, the mask has gone down 5. The Shard Sleeper's gone down 15. Sigvald's gone down 20, which is pretty surprising.
Why? Like, obviously, I'm flying the Slaanesh flag pretty hard because I'd love.
He's actually like he was decently costed and in most lists.
He was fine.
Sinessa, Dexessa the same. Vice Leader gone down 10, whatever.
Yeah.
This is probably the most impactful change. Glutos has gone down 5 points.
Guys,
1%.
What is the point? 1% change, because everyone was like, "Oh no, he's worth dropping. Like, let's drop down Glutos because he needs some help." How much help does he need? He needs 1% help. Well, how on earth did that discussion go? Next GHB. Let's go, guys. So
they just rolled a D20, and he just rolled a 1. It was like that. I rolled a 1. It's fine. Critical miss.
We'll drop him. We don't want to drop him too much. So next time, maybe next time we drop him by 2%. If this time it wasn't enough.
I don't know.
Absolutely bloody pointless. If balance 5 points shouldn't be a thing anyway. You know my opinions on this. Absolute tripe. Because
if you can't balance it with 10-point brackets, why have a 5-point bracket?
Arbitrary, absolutely.
And it's so annoying when a list comes out at 2005. Isn't it the most irritating thing in the world?
He's 470 points. That 5 points is making no difference whatsoever. Let's move on to another unit that didn't get dropped enough.
Keeper of Secret's gone down 20.
Still.
Importantly now, he's allyable.
Everyone is...
So if you've got an option in your book where you're like, a keeper's going to fill that hole.
My book's too good. No, my Nurgle at 8 here. Like, I did this with Bellicor. I put something in
you downgrade my army.
And it felt fine. Yeah, I can put something in my opponents feel like my
it's a better choice than Bellicor, right?
Tier.
So Bellicor's 380, right? So
yeah.
I mean, 20 point. No, if you've taken most 5 or 6 characters, you might get an extra unit of something crap, so it's okay.
Something allied, because nothing in the Slaanesh book has a low points value.
No, and like
you might get a Slaves to Darkness 75-point unit that's better than any of yours.
What, like a unit of Untamed Beasts?
Yeah, unit of Untamed Beasts, or you could put in some...
guys are going to be like, what are these guys on about?
Oh. Put in some Iron Golems. I'm sure they've had their points sorted out.
Yeah, Salaxi Hellbane has gone down by 15 because obviously
still never gonna
10 points less than the keeper, but you still
put a 0 on the end of that. I still wouldn't take her.
Shalesk has gone down 15, which I quite like because I like Shalesk, but I don't. The end of the day, the things you needed to see the points drop on are Bliss Barbs, Slickblade Seekers, the Myrmidon Painbringers, the Twin Souls, the stuff that actually you need in your army are Galatian Veterans, which is things you want to take, and they haven't gone down.
What I don't get is why it isn't like universal percentage amounts, everything's really expensive in this, like if you drop Glutos by 10% instead of 1.
It's really simple. FAQ, use the points in the back of the book. Done. Like you're still not got to that point, have we? I mean, the internal balance is awful.
Point, and that point wasn't great. Now, it still remains one of the most fudged up books in the entire game. Really sad. Exquisite models.
They do have a White Dwarf update, which I will cover.
You're going to end up... You're still all masochism, no sadism. Soz guys.
So, what we need that clock, don't we? Like, reset the clock. There was an opportunity to fix Slaanesh. Oh, reset the clock. It's
Which
not
one? The 1, 2,
the
3,
doomsday. The doomsday clock.
4th opportunity missed. What the F, my lord. No.
It's like somebody languishing in their like leather pants at a tournament. Go, why did I buy these? I'm sure at some point it'll get fixed.
Yeah, I've thought that since the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Does anyone want to buy any sex cows? I've got some assembled.
No sex cows. And Luna, you can't buy any cows either, Soz, guys.
Oh, yeah. Zinch. Load of stuff. Up, down. Do the okie dokie.
Some of these make a bit of sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Blue Scribes went up 25. Good to see. Sure. Kyric Acolytes went up.
What? Where? Why? What?
Lord of Change went down. Flamers went up, and Exalted went down, which I found weird because 2 Flamers is the same as 1 Exalted, so it should be proportional, right? So like if it's like 190 for 3 Flamers, divide that by 3, times it by 2, which I think is about the same, but it's slightly not because anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd pass. Zangor on discs, gone down. 180.
Yeah,
Skyfire's gone down. Chaos Spawn went up 15.
There's too many of them on the tournament.
I think that's right. I might have got that wrong because I was doing the 2 and I was writing numbers and maybe I got the values around the wrong way around, so I might have been wrong. I did double check that one. Pretty sure that has gone up. I'm pretty sure they were like, oh, Spawn are really, you see them all the time because Kairos kill stuff, but Spawn's on, not because people buy Spawns, right? And the spells have been adjusted, so they've all changed. All 4 models, but they've gone down 15, 30, and 15 points respectively. So drops across the board on the other spells. Blades of Corn. Like, honestly, the Invocations have gone down. That's nice to see. Skull Crushers down by 5. Valkyr by 5. Slaughter Priest by 10.
More
Skullmaster by 5. Herald of Corn on Bloodthrone by 10.
These things weren't not taken by 5%. They were not taken.
It's good because the Exalted Deathbringer's now gone down by 5 points back to 80 because he was 80 originally and they put this 5-point weirdness on stuff and then it's come off again.
5 points is definitely, I love it. I think it should be in the game. And
the Aspiring Deathbringer, 5 points again. Bloodletters, 5 points, which might actually make a difference if you take them, but probably don't. Basically, like 5 points off of characters you don't take doesn't matter.
Immortal stuff needed help.
And again,
not got it.
It's Blood Warriors, Skull Reapers, Wrathmongers, Skull Crushers. They need bigger drops. If you don't want people just to take Scarbrand Bloodthirsters, you need to do more. That's not enough.
Yeah.
It's welcome to see the Slaughter Priests and Invocations go down.
Changed a lot.
Yeah, we're being very negative here. I know we're not trying to come across.
I want my game to make more sense than this.
I think we sum it up. This is a missed opportunity, but with the massive swing to the foundation of competitive play, how can you make meaningful adjustments? Which is the point we're going to talk about, which will be a bit more considered and a bit more kind of thought out rather than us just bagging on stuff. But it's fun. It's fun to moan, right? We like moaning.
Yep.
Beast of Chaos drops on the units, so Gauze, Ungors, Gargant, Chimera gone down, Jabberstife's gone down, Doomball's gone down.
They've had a hugely effective White Dwarf update. So
yeah, Ungor Raiders as well, all the endless spells. The Wildfire Taurus got like 40 points.
It was great.
And it's great, ASL.
Bargain.
Some drops there. So yeah, good for them. Luminef, we've got
Beast of Chaos Army do not have enough wounds in, so I'm glad that things.
I'm glad they've got more models. Yeah.
Yeah. 211 wounds.
I saw that guy at the team event, and he had like a double case, and he had his army laid out, and it looked like double the size of my army, and then he had that army again in a box for his summoning, and he was like, and I was like, really? That's just nuts. Anyway, Luminef. So Lyria, Ulfral, Warden of Umetrica's gone down. Cool. The Twin Stones Rune of Petrification have gone down. I think the Twin Stones went down as well, but the Sanctum of Amnatok have gone down. So the Petrification rune's actually really good. So going down to 40 points is quite big.
Bargain.
There is something in here called a Sonari Enlightener. Don't know what that is.
Doesn't exist.
I don't think it exists at the moment. Well, I think it might be coming. Don't know.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
KO, 10 points of Arcanauts, 10 points off the Navigator. That's it. Cities of Sigmar, honestly, loads of little adjustments, but who cares?
There is why did a Battle Mage get cheaper?
Because. So, Hurricanums went up, Luminox went up. Lots of 5-point drops on infantry, literally loads.
But the Hurricane, let's cover the Hurricane thing as well, because the hero versions.
No, the Luminarch hero one went down, but the Luminarch one went up without a hero. I don't know. There might be a reason. I don't know enough about cities. There might be a rule that you get for not being a hero on it, or I don't know.
No, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think that makes the opposite of sense. So
unless they were out of kilter anyway. And Seraphon, finally, the comps hit them. Skink Priest has got up 10 points. Never going to see that guy now.
No.
Totally pointed out of the game. Don't know what they're doing. The value add on that model is about 140 points.
You actually could have doubled it.
I'm quite happy with the Bone Reaper drops, if I'm honest, because some of them I think are nuts. But anyway, that's basically it. Like, there's a few. I'm not going to go through all of it. We've talked about it
massively. A lot of things that there's a lot of missed opportunity there.
So let's talk about it. Let's just leave the endless spells up for people. So,
which bit are we talking about?
Points adjustments. Let's talk about that.
Pointless adjustments.
Well, they are a bit. So this book, basically, all the little adjustments. I'll caveat this. I don't hate the fact they haven't done loads of drops based on data, because AOS 3, I don't think has been out long enough when they have to print this to make informed decisions. Plus, if you're changing the bedrock of competitive play with battle tactics, scenarios,
veterans,
all your data is basically garbage. Because
how are they going to apply data from this set?
Well, I think what you will be able to do is see
the
change between lists before and after. I think that's going to be important.
When some guys get double damage on their unit frequently.
I mean, how do you point? Like, take, for example, anything, like Thralls. Lamati Thralls, right? 130 points, great unit. If they're in they're Galatian Veterans. So if they're in the formation, they get +1 damage, or they get count as 3 models. Does that make them better or worse? Don't know. I honestly, I generally think most armies will want either resilient infantry that can stand on stuff regardless as veterans, counted as multiple models, or you're going to want stuff that just has buckets of attacks, which are bounty hunters.
Yeah.
They may or may not be veterans. I actually don't think a veteran bounty hunter unit is a bad idea.
If it's the right type of unit.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like Witch Elves or, you know, Blight King's Baby, you know, Thralls, good example. They're not resilient, but if you can dictate the charge.
Yeah. If you can dictate who gets to fight first, that's going to feel incredible. Yeah. It already felt good. It's going to feel amazing. Not for your opponent.
I actually don't hate the fact there aren't loads of points adjustments. I would rather see stuff come in like battle scrolls and stuff that change rules or errata stuff, or add in mechanics like predator and prey or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's had to have been written a long time ago in a, you know, with a lack of data.
And I think, like, going forward, we don't know what's going to happen, but maybe printing this isn't a good use of, you know, like, my other one I barely look at. I never look, because they're out of date so quickly, and I don't know, is it worth having a printed book of stuff like that? I mean, you've still got the binder, you've still got, you know, the battle tactics and stuff. I don't know, but I think there'll be a lot of people out there watching this and listening to us bag on it and stuff, and be like, oh, this is really disappointing that my faction hasn't been fixed with points. That happens every time there's a handbook, and I don't think you can fix factions with points, and we've proven it a little bit.
It's not a good way to do it. Look at what you're just going to take more bone splitters. Just put more on.
We've seen
fix the problems with that book with
right?
Doubling the wounds.
So we've seen
on the table
evidence of it with things like FACEHAMMER GT and Carnage giving extra points, and not seeing the performance of those armies dramatically increase.
No.
And that's a significant amount of points. Like, giving someone extra 250 points is more than 10% across the board. I don't think factions that are struggling are going to get fixed with a points drop.
No.
It's fundamentally a rules problem.
With the prey predators stuff as well, we saw, like, if you get a bonus if you kill these dragons with your gloom spike hits. Sweet. I don't care, bro, because that's not happening. Like, the problems that are inherently there, and changing arbitrary stuff around it does not stop them from being there.
And what I'm hoping is when the books come out, that's when they get addressed, the issues.
And the books have been great recently, on average. Like, we've got Ideneth, solid, Fire Slayers, not my bag as an army, but I think it's a pretty solid triumph as a book, actually. Nurgle, super solid. Some wiggles needed in there, but there's been a lot of really, really steady books that were probably written after this.
Or before.
Yeah.
I would say that the biggest issue of the handbook in general, like, I don't think points is what it's about. What it's about is the battle tactics and the missions and the Galatian Veterans.
But just because monsters were a thing, that like what we do next? We're doing artillery next. Let's make artillery crazy OP.
I don't know.
That wouldn't be a good idea. So I don't think this is necessarily a good idea.
I mean,
it's going to mix things up. There's going to be a big change. Like if stuff was stale, this is absolutely changing it.
I mean,
in a fundamental fashion.
You've just had Nighthaunt and Daughters drop both infantry heavy armies with access to very good units, which could be veterans. Like, Nighthaunt's an interesting one because, like, some of the units aren't battle line unless you take a certain host. You may not want them to be battle line because you might actually want them to be bounty hunters, but not veterans.
They get to play with this edition. I don't know what do we call it. They get to play with this handbook more than some
season one.
They get to play with season one more than some other armies do because they have the option to yes or no units battle line or not rolls, which is really interesting. But some people don't get to play that game.
Yeah,
quite a lot of people don't get to play that game.
And like, if you've got a limited book that doesn't have access to a wider array of units, how much longevity do you have in that book? But I mean, you say that, but Fek do have monsters. They have infantry. They have monsters infantry. So they do have variety of units.
Battle line in the game.
Yeah, but not if you take like if you've got like flayers and stuff, and then you've got access to magic. So they're not. I don't think they're like. Yeah, they need a new book. That's obvious, right? Because the fundamental AS3 mechanic of not being having more than one commander has broken that faction in terms of competitiveness. But if you play a faction that doesn't have access to certain things like cavalry, maybe cavalry are the next thing, or you don't have shooting, or you don't have monsters, or you don't have. If the handbook is gonna always be this flip, if it's always gonna be this new meta, flip the table.
Season 2 comes out,
then you just flip it. Are you going to invalidate armies? Now, it's an interesting thing because match play generally invalidates armies. Like you do get that a lot with points adjustments, new books, but I just don't think you impact every faction in one hit, and this does. Is it bad? Is it good? It certainly is going to make people go back to the drawing board, mix things up, and look at new units, right? I mean,
or take units out of the cupboard that they
haven't used,
there, which is real nice. Yeah.
I've got a unit of 10 Blight Kings painted. If I play Nurgle, they'll probably get dusted off and put on the table because I actually think they're good. Like, I'll probably run 2 5s. That they're not amazing. I don't think they're amazing. I think they're still a bit overpointed, but you don't know. And like, our Mortek Guard suddenly really good, but then if they're getting double damage against you, that's like their survivability goes down, and that's what they were in the list for. Then maybe they don't function as well. Are units like Eels better because you can put them in bodyguard or bounty hunter, and impactfully point them at what you want to kill, point and click. And they're at +1 damage, their output's gone up dramatically. Because lots of attacks, you got sharks, for example, 10 attacks a model. You've increased that damage potential by 10 per model. If you've got 3 sharks, that's an extra 30 damage. It's there's a lot of meta swinging here with the proving ground mechanic, with veterans, with the cast a spell, turn people off, with the endless spells, especially adding loads of new list variants.
Old scenarios dropping off is a meta shift. Never mind what these scenarios were, the old ones not being a thing anymore. That makes a big change.
Yeah, and I think that it's a dramatic enough sweeping change across the edition that you just don't know. And then we haven't even mentioned the reach really, but that's huge as well.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Maybe like things like Saurus Warriors
for your darts
in blocks are going to be a thing.
Yeah.
They got multiple attacks, damage 2 if they're in hunters. I don't know. Like, people will be laughing at me saying how bad they are, but like, they're not that bad. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that it's got a 1-inch reach and 32 mil bases. Like, even like Blood Warriors, 1-inch reach, 32 mil bases, quite tough.
So different. Yeah.
Like, are they suddenly going to be really good? Like, as units of like 30 Blood Warriors going to dominate? I don't think so, but you never know. Like, it's just an interesting time, I think.
Not dull.
No, and I don't. It's almost like so much to unpack that until we see stuff hit the tables and people play and results come in, we just don't know. Like, really, we can't say with much authority. You could probably talk in your list. Like, I don't know if Idnef, for example, is it worth me taking Thralls knowing that they are a fragile Galatian veteran unit?
Yeah.
Or do I just go, fuck it, I'm going to run Reavers,
shoot people to
death, and they're going to capture objectives at triple power, and I'm going to put my hunters into sharks and eels, but then I'm not a 1-drop. And then I'm struggling because so even my Idnef army, which I was very practiced with and I know very well, I'm almost like, I don't know.
And it was a balanced mixed list as well.
Yeah.
It's not like you went deep on one aspect of it or anything.
And I think I could run that list, like, no issue, like and be okay. But I just think not having that +1 damage unit. And then we haven't even talked about this. There are armies that use hunters to stop monstrous rampages turning off command abilities and that's gone now, so you can't do that. So, you know, is stuff like Astral Templars gone up in stock because they have that as an army rule? So have monsters still retain their power?
I would be surprised if monster stock goes down too much and then up a bit, like while people flip-flop into extreme of fashion and then realize that, you know, they can stomp anything they want.
Yeah, and I think like
very raw
armies with access to decent infantry,
it's battle line,
either it's battle line, or fast units with lots of attacks, which can be hunters, bounty hunters, I think would be good. It's an interesting time for sure. I don't know how people feel about it. I kind of hate the massive lots of variables all changing at once. I'm okay with points adjustments. I'm okay with new scenarios, but when you've got new scenarios, points adjustments, new endless spell rules, plus a spell, plus a command ability, plus this rule for every scenario, plus a keyword being added on, plus reach being changed, plus 2 new formations, I think it's too much too soon in one go.
It says it's season 1. When's season 2 going to come? If that date is soon, then it needs to not change as much or change stuff as to the extremes that it has.
And we don't even know if season 2 would be a bolt on to this and these rules stay in effect and it adds on, or we don't know if it replaces it, or is it next year? Is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? Is it 10 months? I don't know. We don't know. So the danger you've got, I think, and I see this a lot with GW stuff at the moment anyway, is if it goes to, we've seen like Harrow Deep and then suddenly Never Maze, it was 6 months. If you don't play in the first month and a bit, and then you're like, oh, I've got to do a new army, you start painting up models, you might go to like a couple of events and then it changes again and you're like, should I bother? Or should I just wait until my collection becomes relevant? I don't know.
Like, what if you're one of like 4 dudes and you play like very occasionally, do some garage games. This thing comes out. It's what is the new version. So you pick it up. You adjust your armies a bit. That's taken a few months. Like, do you adjust your armies?
Well, I'd say if you were in a garage, like a house ruley environment, I'd just say like you would just not. I'd play your own house rules, or just not use the bits you don't like because it doesn't matter. I think if you're
have a chat and just put some strikes through bits that you think are a bit, especially if you've got like poor Gargant player who's already been kicked a lot.
Yeah, but then like you're saying poor Gargants, but like it was poor everyone who wasn't Gargants a while ago. So it's like, but then is that okay? I don't know. But like
I don't like extreme flip flops.
I don't like
I'd rather like variation around the middle rather than like here to there to here to there.
Yeah, and you'd like to see like a nudge rather than a shove, right? So I'd rather the table got like, if you had a like it got turned slightly rather than fucking flipped over. But I don't know if
I'm interested to see if games speed up.
I'm not sure they will. I think I'm not sure.
Hard to gauge that type of thing. A lot of the scenarios are like play here or like play here.
I think there's a lot more decisions with the turn, with proving ground, with tactics. I think the tactics are harder. So like now,
overload some people.
Currently now, it's very obvious. You go into your turn and you go, conquer, easy. I do this, easy. Now I think you're going to be going, which unit do I kill, or can I do that one? Are they a veteran unit? What's a veteran? Or are they veterans? And also,
like, win whether you go first or second, there's going to be like 5 considerations to that.
And the whole like battle line if thing, like, are they veterans or not? Are they battle line? Who's your general? Are they battle line? If you don't know the armies, it's going to be a nightmare, right?
Some picked general, FAQ pending.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the missions. I like some of it. I'm not a big fan of points adjustments. I don't care about that really too much.
Read that as vanilla. Good for OVR players, otherwise vanilla.
No, I think some people might be happy with some of the changes. I don't know, but I don't think there's enough in there to care. Like if I'm
250 wounds, army,
I care a bit more about OVR because I play them, right? So for me, that's like, they're quite nice adjustments, but I don't play the other factions. So someone who plays cities might be going, they're nice adjustments. I don't know. I don't play them. I don't care. Not seeing any change. None of the AOS3 books points have changed. So like Stormcast, or at War Clans. I actually think there's a missed opportunity with War Clans and like
with Crawl Boys.
The biggest issue I have with Crawl Boys is the battle line restriction on Gut Rippers is too harsh. So you're forced to go big yellows. Like Hobgrots are just trash. You want them, but you don't. And then you're like, Gut Rippers are too expensive, so they could have gone down, I think, to 160 quite comfortably, easily.
Yeah, 160 or even 150.
Maybe a battle line if like every Gut Rippers makes Hobgrots battle line, something like that. That sort of stuff. There's loads of. I think they're so limited in a faction, and I think some of their heroes are overcosted. Like nobody's taken a killer boss. Or like a Dash Tooth, or
it doesn't feel like it's that long ago, but it is that book came out.
Feels like a long time, right? I mean, it's like last July. Well, it wasn't July. It was the Cruel Boys book come out. I think it was August, September, or maybe it was even later than that. I don't know. But the obviously the new edition Dominion was July, wasn't it? So like, I know it was a wait. It was a wait after. Stormcast. There's not really been any adjustments at all. I think the internal balance of that book is awful.
What does a Heraldor do? Nothing.
No, stays in your cupboard.
He does.
So, but potentially, like some of the infantry in that book will become really good. Like there's those great sword guys you don't see, the Vigilers. I don't know what they're called, but it's like a unit of guys with great swords, cool as hell, but they've got a 1-inch reach and they're on big bases. Now you might see them. I don't know. I definitely think there's some. It'd be nice to see that. It would have been nice to see like Twin Souls and that go down, and then with the White Dwarf update and the Lord of Pain going down and their battle line, if you could do some stuff with like, if I take Lord of Pain, they're veterans. If I don't take Lord of Pain, they're not veterans. And
like 30% less points.
If Bliss Barbs weren't only 170 or whatever they are, if they were like 140 something like that, you could go like, they would be alright as veterans because they could count as 3 in objectives, and I've got 11, so. Maybe that's a thing, right? Because they come in units of 11.
Yeah,
so they're 33, not 30. So if they've got 10 and you've got 10 and they run on, you're like, well, I've got 1.
They got run and shoot as well, yeah.
So I don't know. Like there's stuff. I mean, we've got the Skaven and the Sylvaneth book to talk about today as well. I think the Handbook for me, it's a big change. I'd love to hear what people think. what happens to your list, if you're excited about it, if you're not, if you think it sounds good, if it's a breath of fresh air.
Are you just really looking forward to turning up to an event and not knowing what the hell is going on? Because that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice just to have the lines moved and have to go back to the drawing board and theory stuff out and think and play practice games. So maybe it's fine. And I was chatting on the IDNF show with Liam and a guy called John, and he was saying that he doesn't mind big meta shifts because he's got a varied collection and he can just start getting stuff that he's not using. So that's a fair point. And even for me, I'm like looking at the Blight Kings, go, it's an excuse to get those out. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe my OBR might come back out with some of the changes, and, you know, the points adjustments, the endless spell changes. This, you know, like, does Arcan get good again? Is, you know, so there's a lot to play around with, I think. But we're interested to know what you think. That is the handbook. That's the review. Hopefully you don't think we're being too negative but, you know, I think it's, I do think the points book is disappointing, you know, but overall the handbook, I'm not disappointed with that. I think it's a big enough change to make me concerned for what's going to happen. But then that's kind of exciting in a way.
Yeah, that can be our assessment.
We don't know. So, yeah, but let us know what you think below if you've got any cool ideas for this.
See what follows this, like the FAQ, but, you know, also like what armies come out next, what their points are. Because it could be some of the ones that we were saying need more help, you know, back, whatever it is. You know, that'd be really, really interesting. Yeah,
and it'd be interesting to see if they keep doing points adjustments with a big change to the match play environment with scenarios and other things, because
if they adjust
how
the points
can you
season 2 comes out, what then?
Well, how can you adjust, because adjustments is after the fact with data, but then if the variables change that much, then that data doesn't allow you to adjust. So how do you do that without having,
you just pump them at a base level and ignore the top? Thoughts on that, please, guys? I'm sure there's some people who work in like super numbersy, balancy jobs, or like the gaming industry or something like that.
I work in data analytics, but I think it's too hard to make informed decisions off of a data set when you're changing fundamental variables at a base level. So the historical data to get trends is the game's not stable enough for you to
change. There's no more hero scenarios.
Scenarios change, books change, points change, rules change. Like, you know, monsters now, did they get a points tack in AOS3 when the AOS3 come out because all the new rules for monsters and because of the handbook, or was that just because they got monsters rampages?
Or were only books written within that period get attacked because it was being considered time, and ones prior to that didn't, and are a bargain?
It's like driving with handbrakes, right?
Yeah,
because you've got schedules and stuff gets lead time, and you've got overlapping things and things being moved around.
Making your job pretty hard for this.
Yeah. So I don't have any, like, I don't want people to think that I'm having to go at the studio. Like, I think it's a very difficult job that they do, and I think maybe it's
made it harder though.
Yeah, but then, like, we're getting a new season, which then allows people to go back to their collections, get excited, make new army lists, come up with new armies, because that's kind of cool, right? I mean, like, I'm already starting to think about things, and maybe that's enough.
Yeah.
And people were kind of tired of the current, and it's probably been long enough to have that change.
I feel like it was a very long time, yeah.
And maybe not having huge points adjustments is fine, because the other stuff's enough of a change to breathe fresh life into the game without massive adjustments.
Net domination coming to a tournament.
Well, yeah, you say it, but, you know, like, it wouldn't take a lot. I think, like, with the White Dwarf update, and, you know, if they only had a few of the units drop down, like those Painbringers and Twin Souls, actually could be quite good. It'd be a huge difference.
You'd have a holding unit. My God.
But they got the new depravity rules where you gain, like, ward save of your whole army if you hold on to depravity and stuff like that. So there is play in terms of increasing their resilience and things like that. So I think there is some play there, but we'll see. I'm not saying that they're in a great spot, but I'm just saying that you don't know.
Yeah.
There might be a list. There might be a new list, infantry focus, that works really well with the battle tactics and that. If you play Sinesh, let us know what you think.
Put a list down below that tempts me. I will take it to a tournament.
I'll hold you to that. Glutos 1% better. But yeah, that's the handbook. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. It's been a long review, but obviously it's a big thing to talk about. If you haven't watched them already, check the Sylvaneth and the Skaven video out where we go through those books. Obviously, we're trying to do our best with this week, covering everything, but it's been a bit of a tight turnaround. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's out on the day. If not, I apologize. But hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll do a live where we will go through the sort of the handbook in a bit more detail and understand, which I want to do on Sunday night, if that works for you, to go through, like, do we feel that what lists are good, you know, how do people feel about it, take questions, you know, give us people's thoughts, because even during the premiere for this, obviously people will be in the chat and try and take those questions and things, all the comments below, try to address those on the live show on the Sunday night, which you can then tune in if you subscribe and hit the bell, and you'll know when we're going to do that. So hopefully you'll join us for that, and you can tell us that you agree, disagree, but that's the nature of having a discussion, so we like it. So
absolutely.
All right. Okay. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah. On to Sylvaneth or Skaven or something.
Enjoy. Click one of the things that will come up. All right. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.